Hey, I'm Kelly Keough, and welcome to The Sweet Truth. Today's show is all about everyone's favorite sweet snack, cookies. And kids are crazy about cookies. Cookies bring out the kids in all of us. And believe me, I would know I'm a 41-year-old kid who's been caught with her hand in the cookie jar more times than I can count. I knew I could never cut out one of my favorite sweet snacks. So when I went sugar-free, wheat-free, I decided to build a better cookie. And today we'll make my Sweet Truth Smart Cookies. Oatmeal wheels, peanut butter paws, and a chocolate chip that would pass any kid's test. Since I love cookies, and I know you do too, I'm going to make you some that are sugar-free, wheat-free, and sugar addict safe. Better yet, they contain an energy elixir. These babies just don't satisfy your sweet tooth, they keep young minds sharp and eager to do homework and help us big kids remember where we left the car keys. And the great thing about my energy elixir is that it's just a combination of golden flaxseed, green grapes, and lecithin. The combination of choline and antioxidants keeps the nervous system healthy and the mind focused and active. Now I want to start with my favorite, chocolate chip. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and let's make the energy elixir in a mini food processor. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of grapes and a tablespoon of golden flax and a tablespoon of soy lecithin. And put that in, and a teaspoon of water to help the flax gel and become slippery. Okay, here we go. What a combo. I'm going to pull this out of my mini food processor, take out the blade, and scoop it out. Nice. Can you see that? Perfect. Let's bring it over here with our other ingredients. Now the first step I want to do with the cookie is cream my vegetable shortening. So let's put that in our bowl. And I'm going to cream that with some coconut oil, organic, extra virgin, for taste and texture, and good fats, medium chain fats that break down in the body and stimulate metabolism. That's important. 1 organic omega-3 egg. Let me start that creaming. Meanwhile, I'm going to add some vanilla. Love the smell of vanilla, and a 1/2 cup of agave. Agave is my sugar replacement and honey replacement. In the cookies, it works just like sugar, but the glycemic index is very low. Next, I'm going to add our energy elixir. Look at all those nutrients going in there. I know you're loving this for your kids. Next, we're going to cream in the unsweetened coconut and 3 teaspoons of stevia powder. Now the stevia has enough liquid to dilute itself. My batter is ready for the wets. Now let's go to the dries. You're going to mix only 1 cup of gluten-free flour mix with a teaspoon of baking soda. Let's put it in. And xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is a cellulose that comes from a vegetable, and it helps hold together the flour because this flour has no gluten in it. And gluten is a strong protein chain that you find in wheat, rye, barley, and often makes people sick like me. So I can't eat wheat, so I'm doing a gluten-free flour, and this makes me feel so much better. I'm going to lift up my stand-up mixer. I'm going to start pouring it in, and I'm going to let that go together. My cookie batter is now getting pretty good looking. Okay. Next, I'm going to fold in my chocolate chips. Okay, this batter looks ready. Next, I'm going to get out 2 spoons and scoop some onto my ungreased cookie sheet. Let's put 6 on there. Great. Oh, this dough is heavenly. And I know you're saying it looks just like cookie dough. It is. It's just sugar-free cookie dough. And another one. We're going to make big cookies. And this is number 6. Now, what you would do next is you make sure you form them into little domes on your cookie sheet. And I'm going to pop these in the freezer for 30 minutes. That's a Sweet Truth baking tip because it's going to keep the shape of our cookies. Why? Because the solids of the vegetable shortening and the coconut oil are going to keep their original form and go through the perfect baking process in the oven. So let me put this in the freezer. Here's my cookie dough batter all ready to go and in little domes. That is going to help the baking process to keep the shape of the cookie. Let's pop them in the oven for 11 minutes. Now, do these chocolate chip cookies look like the real deal or what? I bet your kid would eat one, because I know I would, so let me test it. Or it doesn't get much better than this chocolate chip, but when it does, it usually involves peanut butter. And my next smart cookie is guaranteed to satisfy the peanut butter addict in everyone, especially me. Come on back. For me, trying to give up peanut butter was worse than trying to give up sugar. And every time I tried, I would literally have nightmares about falling into vats of the stuff. But now I've found a way to have my peanut butter and eat it too without eating the whole jar. Peanut butter paws. These cookies have the rich peanut butter taste that you'd expect, but are also full of fiber and protein, so you can consider them a mini meal. Now here's a cookie cooking tip. If you're allergic to peanuts, you can replace them with any nut butter. Just use almond, cashew, macadamia. It's up to you. Just make sure that it's organic, especially the peanut butter. You don't want any toxins in your nuts. Well, we'll start with a slightly different elixir. In our mini food processor, let's add 1 tablespoon of golden flax and a tablespoon of our soy lecithin, a teaspoon of water, and we're going to use Fuji apple instead because there's no better pairing than peanut butter and apple. I'm going to put this on and make our elixir. There it goes. Okay. I'm going to take this out, our blade, and then put our elixir into my bowl. We're going to take this elixir to our stand-up mixer and add it right away. Because with this elixir, that's going to help our nervous system, like I told you, we're going to cream it with our 3/4 cups of vegetable spread, or you can use butter, and add 1 omega-3A, organic, and put in 4 teaspoons of stevia powder. There we go. And now your agave, 1/2 cup. We're going to sweeten up that peanut butter, sugar-free style. And now, of course, my peanut butter, 1 full cup. Yes, you heard me right, 1 full cup. Creamy. Creamy works best. And you know that this is organic because I already told you. Great. And 2 tablespoons. I'm a big fan of the vanilla. Let's cream that together. Lovely. Let's move on to our dry flours. I'm going to start with 1 cup of quinoa flour. It's a grain from Peru that cooks up like rice but can be ground like a flour. And actually, because it's high protein, the carbs in it burn slowly, so there's no spiking when you have this flour. And we're going to mix this with a cup of brown rice flour. It's a very popular gluten-free flour. So in it goes. Let's mix those together. These 2 flours are perfect cookie flours to use in your dough. Now we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda and our xanthan gum, 1 teaspoon. Great, let's mix that together. Let's add to our wet. Let's put on our mixer. That's looking like a cookie dough. I'm going to add the last step, a 1/2 cup of chopped organic peanuts. In they go. It's that simple, folks. Now I'm ready to scoop it out and put it on my ungreased cookie sheet. So I'm going to get 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to scoop out my dough. We're going to do 1, 2, we'll do 6 all together. And I'm going to make another row of this fabulous cookie dough, peanut butter cookie dough. I'm drooling already. Oops. We'll get that later. And 6. There we go. Nice. Now, with your fingers, make little domes. See how beautifully this gluten-free cookie dough behaves? I love it when my doughs behave. And the kids, too. Now, these wouldn't be peanut butter cookies if we didn't do the crisscross marks. That's the signature mark of a peanut butter cookie. So we're going to crisscross. I love doing this. This is super fun. We're almost done. There. X marks the spot. Now, just like the chocolate chip dough, we're going to put it in the freezer for at least 30 minutes. And that's to firm up the solids of the vegetable spread and the coconut oil, because it will help the baking process when we put it in the oven for 11 minutes. Yeah. Here's what they look like. Nice and solid. Let's put them in a 350-degree oven for 11 minutes. I can't wait to taste one. Those look lovely. I feel my IQ increasing already. These peanut butter paws make me feel like a kid and give me tons of energy. Okay, we've already done 2 kids' favorites and made them into sugar-free delights, but we're still not done yet. I have 1 more cookie in this tasty trilogy, so you be a smart cookie and come on back. I'm feeling especially energetic all of a sudden. Watch out. We've made chocolate chip and peanut butter cookies. So the obvious smart thing to do is to move on to oatmeal raisin. Of course, minus the sugar and the wheat. And to give them an extra boost, we're going to make these cookies in a dehydrator, preserving the raw power in the oats and the other ingredients. Let's get started in our food processor with 1 cup of slow-cooked oats. Oats are great for lowering cholesterol, and with all the other fiber in this recipe, it's going to be a great hearty cookie. Next, I'm going to put in 1 Fuji apple, organic of course, because the skin is really important for digestion. And Fuji is my favorite because it's the sweetest. Next, 3/4 cups of coconut date rolls. I said before, I love coconut date rolls because they're easy to mush up in the food processor, but you can also use dates. And in they go. We're also going to add a ½ cup of unsweetened coconut and a ½ cup of organic apple cider. Put it in, and then 2 teaspoons of our lovely cinnamon, because you know with apples and oats goes cinnamon, good heart spice, and 2 teaspoons of our stevia powder. Will mix nicely. Great. I'm going to food process this with a pulse first. And now I'm going to put it on puree. If yours gets stuck, you can just open it up. You can scrape down the sides and do a pulse action. Pulsing pulls the top chunks down into the blade. It's a great technique. I know when my batter's done because it starts to ball and turn around in the food processor. Now the next step is I always pull out the blade and scoop off the batter into the bowl, and this goes right into the sink. Now let's take this batter and put it into our mixing bowl. Because we're using a dehydrator, this is going to be a raw cookie, especially if we cook it below 115 degrees. So next I'm going to mix in another ¼ cup of uncooked oats. Why? Because I want it to look like an oatmeal cookie. And a ¼ cup of macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are really great for you, and the oils are beneficial. Of course, we have to have our organic raisins. And all you do is fold this into your mix. This is the most festive looking oatmeal mix I've ever seen. Look at that. Okay, it's ready to go. Now, if you've never seen a dehydrator, it's back here on my counter, but first I'm going to put it on my trusty dehydrator screen. This is an extra screen that goes on top of my dehydrator tray. I'm going to scoop out a tablespoon of my oatmeal mixture and mold it into a wheel. I know kids will have fun making these cookies. So I'm going to make about 3 of them and mold them into my wheels. So we have a flat cookie already made because it's going to dehydrate. That means it's going to take the moisture out. And you know, a cooking tip, if you're in a rush and you want to make these for your kids, you can pop them in a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. The texture won't be as chewy though as it will be if you put it in the dehydrator. So let me show you how I do it. So you remove the front, slide your cookies in, and set your degrees at 115, and then set your timer for about 16 hours. These cookies are so simple and perfect to make with your kids, and the creative way of making these cookies helps sharpen their minds. So it's time for me to take a test. I've always loved oatmeal cookies, and now these wheels are my niece Kaylee's favorite after-school snack. When we come back, we'll have a cookie recap, but don't worry, there won't be a quiz. Now, in order to make my cookies, you need a sugar-free, wheat-free pantry. Now, there's no better person to show us than my friend Carrie. We're here in her house, in her beautiful sugar-free, wheat-free Sweet Truth pantry that's also gluten-free. Hey, Carrie, what's up? Hey, good, thanks. Now, thank you so much for letting us come over and show us how we helped you transform your sugar-free, wheat-free pantry. Great. Now, I first met Carrie at a cooking demo, and she was interested in my cooking classes. But Carrie, tell us, why were you interested in a sugar-free cooking class?
Well, as you know, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have a lot of pain and a lot of inflammation in my joints because of that.
Yeah.
I found out that a lot of gluten and sugar happens to make that situation worse.
Yeah.
So I started to eliminate it from my diet. I'm feeling a lot better. Not to mention my husband wanted to lose some weight. We both love sweets, so another good reason.
Wow, that's why I wanted to come over to your house. And let's start with how you replaced white sugar. What was the first thing that you bought to
The
replace
first thing
white
I
sugar?
did buy was the powdered stevia, which I also carry in packets with me wherever I go because I love it now.
Great.
And liquid stevia in a couple different flavors that I use and things.
What did you change out for your honey?
I ended up going for a light agave syrup.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And tell me how much you love this now.
I use it in everything, on oatmeal and in recipes. I love it.
And we have here some dark agave. So why did you get dark agave?
Because I did use maple syrup quite a bit in the past, and
Yeah.
since I'm a vegetarian, you cook with that a lot. So this was the next, thing to do.
And this other culprit over here, our flour.
The all-purpose flour.
I don't think it has any purpose. Gluten-free flour.
Oh, that is good.
And this is really easy. So if you look in your gluten-free baking aisle at your health food store, you will find an all-purpose baking flour. There's some other gluten-free flours. We have brown rice flour and quinoa flour. I'm so proud of Carrie. She's got like everything hooked up in here. For me, it's all about making the things that we love with the healthy ingredients possible. Of course, sugar-free, wheat-free. Just your stevia, your agave, and your gluten-free flour, and we are good